Good afternoon, good morning. I'm stealing from John Busby here. Whenever you're watching, welcome to the 2022 Delaware Interscholastic Athletic Association Volleyball Tournament Preview. I'm Mike Lang, Jason Winchell, down here in Mike's bunker in Claymont as we take a look at the brackets which were released on Sunday. We will look at each of the first round matchups. Jay, we don't know a lot about all of these teams, but we know something about just about all of them, and we're going to do our best here to give everybody a preview of what's going to be happening on Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll look ahead at Friday and Saturday, rounds 1 and 2 over 4 days. First off, the regular season seemed to skip by in a heartbeat, and
it's over quickly.
Here we are.
It just seemed like the 15 games flew by, and here, like you said, here we are. First tournament gets underway Wednesday night, and it's going to be a good one.
Jay, we're looking at, well, we just lost our bracket. There we go. A big pile of laundry behind you there, but that's all right. I should fold that. So here we go. We're going to start with, we're going to go right from the top of the bracket, DMA, and Dickinson. That game will be Thursday night at Delaware Military Academy. And Jay Dickinson out of Blue Hen Flight B didn't get to see the Rams this year, but they're going to have their hands full against the Seahawks.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be a really good a matchup between two very good teams, and it's going to be really, like I said, 16, 17s are normally good games, and I expect one right out of the chute there on Thursday night.
It's hard to tell with the Flight B teams. We don't see a lot of them, and they don't pile up a lot of bonus points usually against each other is where they get their bonus points, and that certainly is the case with Dickinson, with DMA. We know a little bit about them. We had them last week against Cape Henlopen, and we know they have a couple of seniors, Morgan Joffrey and McKenna Van Horn. Maya Hill's not a senior, but Maya's a big hitter for them. We're not doing predictions, are we? We're expecting a fun match over at DMA. Congratulations to the Rams on getting in DMA under first-year coach Nikki Kinnear back in the tournament, and congratulations to the Seahawks. That's the first one, and then looking also on Thursday, we probably should start with Wednesday. We have to go back to Thursday because we go from the top of the bracket. Yeah. Brandywine at Tower Hill. The Bulldogs, another Flight B team. They are the 24 seed, the last one's in, and they get the joy of going to Weaver Gymnasium. We've been there for volleyball and for basketball. What's Brandywine in for when they head into the gym?
It's a different atmosphere, right? I mean, 3 rows of bleachers, maybe 5 rows tops. It's going to be packed in there. Probably get 200 will probably fill the place to capacity. Tower Hill or Brandywine brings students. That place is going to be packed, and it's a fun atmosphere for volleyball. I really enjoy it for volleyball. Don't know if it's a great atmosphere for a venue for a opening round game, but that's where it is, and it should be a good one.
Tower Hill, of course, coached by Mike Sachs and his daughter Chloe, a senior this year, and they also have a couple of other players that maybe don't get quite as much ink as Chloe, but pretty solid team out there at Tower. Independent conference, not quite what it's been in the past, but still a pretty solid across-the-board conference, so they've been tested a little bit. They also played some of the other non-conference teams that we've seen, that we've gotten used to them playing.
I know we're going to say Paddle and Ursula didn't have their usual seasons, but Tower Hill beat both of them this year, and those are that's good wins for this Tower Hill program. So they had a solid season, and there were 2 losses for Archman and Wilmington Charter, 2 good teams out of the Diamond State. So it's going to be like I said, Tower Hills are probably a team not many people know about, but had a solid season of 13-2.
We're going to a Henlopen North contest next. A rematch, Dover and Cape Henlopen. The Vikings beat the Senators during the season.
5 sets, 16-14 in the final set there. So I expect maybe another 5-setter at the beach on, you said Thursday night, right? So that should be a really good one. 2 teams familiar with each other. Like you said, they played during the regular season. So that's going to be a fun one to watch.
I'm going to be honest, have not seen Dover this year. I've seen Cape twice. So we expect, two teams that know each other. We expect a battle, 5 sets the first time. Who knows the second time? It should be a fun atmosphere down there at Cape Henlopen. If you haven't seen an athletic event at Cape and you're near the beach, it's worth the drive over to Lewis. And I think we got a dog upstairs. He's not happy that we're not
up
playing
there
with her.
Yeah.
See if we can get her. Maybe she'll come down here, but she's up there whining. She's distracting me a little bit. Alrighty, so the other Thursday game, I'm thinking this is going to be one of the better ones. Wilmington Charter at Middletown. Wilmington Charter comes on at the end, wins their last 2 matches to finish over 500. An important bonus point for their opponents, but more importantly for them, a little momentum going into the tournament against the pretty athletic Middletown team.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones that could be an instant classic. Wilmington Charter, a young team, had their ups and downs, played a few 5-set matches this year. Really good team. Against a Middletown team we saw against Red Lion, very athletic, very talented, very good team. And they get the home court advantage there on Thursday night, hosting Charter.
Alrighty. Should we move on to the Wednesdays?
Yes.
Let's move to the Wednesdays. Also in Sussex County, we're going to have number 18 Padua at number 15 Indian River. This is not a usual familiar spot for the Pandas, being under 500. They have the fewest amount of wins of any team in the field at 5. They finished 5-10, but what a schedule they played, and they earned their way into the tournament with those bonus points. They get to travel the longest distance of anybody in the tournament to go down to Indian River. I have not seen the Indians play, but I know they have some talent. And I believe they were the champions of the Henlopen South. It should be a good one.
They were, and they beat Ursuline this year, and so that's their common opponent with the Pandas. Like you said, Padua 5 wins, but I think, in my opinion, had one of the toughest schedules in the state this year, and they're a very good team. But that's not an easy road trip, like you said. They're traveling all the way down there, and I think that one could be Padua by far. I think played the most 5-set matches. I think they're going to add another one to the resume on Wednesday night down there at IR. I see a 5-setter.
Indian River led by Cam Ehlers, and I forget. I had these down last night. Padua, of course, Mary Mancini, Anya Ottavelli, the big hitters. We know a lot about Padua. We see them a lot. And my niece is on Padua, so obviously I've seen Padua quite a bit.
Yes.
So the Pandas making the trip down south on Wednesday. All games, by the way, at 6:30. We'll go over that a little later. Next up, it's MOT Charter and Red Lion. Former Diamond State foes no longer, but they're going to play each other. It's the Mustangs from MOT Charter at Red Lion. Have not seen MOT this year. I have seen Red Lion. They have some athletes on that Red Lion team led by Schneider. Lee Schneider.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Red Lion. They lost a lot to graduation this year, but they play well. They got the 10 seed. They get to host the game against MOT Charter. Like you said, former rivals of the Diamond State, meeting in the first round. I think it's going to be one of those ones we'll see. MOT Charter had a fantastic season for them, by the way. I believe 9 wins on the year.
And by the way, it's Eliza Schneider.
Yeah.
It came into my head just after I messed up her name. Eliza, I know your name, and I definitely know your game. That should be a good one. That's at Red Lion. That's a nice home court advantage for the Lions. They draw well, and it doesn't matter what round it is or if even it's in the tournament. There's always a big crowd at Red Lion. We found that even during COVID that they drew extremely well down there to Red Lion.
It's a good home court advantage.
It's a very good home court. So MOT is going to have their hands full, I believe, at Red Lion, but that's why we play the games, right?
Yeah.
Moving on, Wednesday. It's number 19 Ursuline. I can't believe I had to stare at my laptop over here with the screen. Number 19 Ursuline and number 14 Tattle. 2 teams that we have seen. Ursuline, pretty experienced team, a lot of seniors. Tattle back in the tournament for the first time, I believe, since 2018, if I'm not mistaken. and it's good to see the Hornets back in. They get a home court.
Tatnall and Ursuline both battle tested. Both had very tough schedules. So I expect a match where we saw two teams that record wise, you look and say, well, they didn't have the greatest records, but their strength of schedules were very good. Coach Evans always goes out and challenges himself, and so does Ursuline all the time. It's weird seeing Ursuline 19 and Paddle 18 in the seedings. But I think they could be tough outs for anybody, and I think Ursuline Tatnall will be a good one tomorrow night.
So if you're looking at Tatnall, of course they have Emma Kirby and Nancy Evans back at libero. They have a lot of couple sister acts on that team,
yes.
So they have a lot to look forward to with Tatnall. We just had them a couple weeks ago. Against Delmarva Christian, who's a team we'll get to a little bit later. Ursuline, of course, Hannah Kelly and Faith Kleitz and Cece DeCaro up front, so they have a lot of weapons under new coach Jen Johnson. New to Ursuline, not new to the Delaware volleyball scene, of course. Jen did a great job this year. They finished at 6-9, lots of bonus points, and they're in. And it wasn't really that close. They were pretty good.
Right. Moving
on to Blue Hen Flight A. These teams know each other, Appo and St. George's. Appo, I believe, won the conference, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, look who's here.
Yep.
Oh, look who's here. She joins in. It's Frida. And she's going to join the podcast, or the stream here. This is Frida. And she's been winding upstairs for about 10 minutes now, but now she's happy she's down. Well, she's not happy, but she's down here. She hates the basement. Don't you?
That's why you were crying, huh?
Yeah, she doesn't like being alone, and she knows there's people in the house. But anyway, Frida, do you have anything to say about Appo and St. George's? No? Well, we do. Jay, what are we going to say? It's at Appoquinimink. Pretty good home court advantage for them.
Yeah, like you said, two familiar foes played in the Flight A conference. Like you said, Appoquinimink undefeated in the conference this year, beat Middletown and St. George's. But it's going to be one of those interesting games because St. George's really came on at the end of the year, had a good win over against Odessa. And that, I think, me and you, we were doing our projections. We thought maybe the winner of that match would be in and the loser would be out. And St. George's won the match and they're in. And Odessa, not in the tournament this year, but a fantastic season for the Ducks.
Jay, this dog's working pretty hard back there, trying to make herself comfortable and just messing up the clothes that are here on the chair. So that should be a good one. I did have a chance to see Apple this year, did not see St. George's. So I really don't know much about the Hawks. But these two teams know each other, and that should be a good one on Wednesday at 6:30. Of course, you play Wednesday, means you play Friday. And you get the top 8 seeds who have a bye. So we'll move on to round 2. Let's start with Friday night. We'll stay with St. George's and Appo. The winner gets Newark Charter. We know that place can get loud and rowdy, and that's a really, really good team that Coach Weller has put together at Newark Charter.
13-2 season against a tough schedule. Really, a really talented team. Played St. Mark's really tough in the regular season. Had some great wins. Like I said, 13-2 and sitting right there in 6th spot, and that is not an easy place to go into for the winner of Appo St. George's.
I'm getting dog kisses here. There's nothing wrong with that. We didn't expect the dog to be joining us, but she knew we were here, and she let us know about it.
Yep.
So Appo, Newark Charter has the libero McKenna Ritchie.
Yep.
Who's a senior. I can't believe she's a senior, but she is, and they have some other hitters on that team. Turner is the big one. Emily Turner is one of them. And they are very, very tough. That's a team that plays fantastic defense. That was almost carried them against St. Mark's. That was a fantastic match. It's a shame it was on a Saturday around lunchtime, but and it was a good one. And they were the first team to beat St. Mark's in the set this year. So Newark Charter, very, very tough. Speaking of St. Mark's, they also play Friday night. They get the winner of Tattle and Ursuline. Well, they know Ursuline very well. They played them twice a year. Just played a week ago not a week ago, actually, it was like a couple days ago against
To close out our regular season
Yeah, of
on
course we had that one.
Saturday night. But yeah, they, like you said, those two know each other. Tatnall, they have not faced St. Mark's the last few years, but they're, like I said, a very talented team. So, but St. Mark's, I think a lot of people see that 3 seed and go, really that low? And no, it's just because the top 8 teams all this year were so good and all had tough schedules. So it came down to the bonus points. But St. Mark's are the defending champs for a reason. Until they get knocked off, they're the champs. So they know people will be looking to knock them out, and they're very talented.
The way I'd like to explain how St. Mark's is a 3 seed, if one of these, if either Ursuline or Padua finishes at 500,
Yeah,
St. Mark's is number 1 seed.
exactly right.
And if both of them finish 500 and Friends are over 500 and Friends, they're the number 1 seed, and it's not even close. The way it turned out,
Well, Smyrna
had some points there.
plays them all too, and so
yeah, it would have been close.
yeah,
St. Mark's has Padua and Ursuline twice. Probably
Yeah.
would have made the difference
would
there
have made
for
the difference.
St. Mark's. But that's how close those top 3 or 4 seeds were. And St. Mark's will be playing, of course, the higher seeds. Get home games the first rounds. Don't get me started. And so it's going to be a zoo at St. Mark's. We know they come out. They move the football game to Thursday. One of the advantages, whether it doesn't matter what the reason is, they move the game to Thursday.
Yep.
The student section from St. Mark's, they will be there. It's going to be loud as usual inside St. Mark's at Tom Rosa Court. The next game on Friday is going to be in Central Delaware, and that's going to be the winner of MOT and Red Lion at Caesar Rodney. The Riders out of the Henlopen North put together a pretty good season. I think at 11-4. I think the losses all came to Smyrna, Cape. They're teams that I think Delmarva Christian may have gotten them.
They beat the Cape Henlopen.
Oh, okay, beat Cape.
I think they only lost once in the conference, and that was to Smyrna. But they lost to, I believe, Delmarva Christian. Appo got them. Newark Charter, I think. So
they play a tough schedule.
They really play a tough schedule. 11 wins. That Henlopen North was strong this year, as we've already named a bunch of Henlopen North teams in the first round, and they're one of the teams that because there are 11 wins in that conference, get a first round bye and a home second round game, and they will. I think Red Lion and MOT, going a travel on a Friday night down to the thing will be interesting to see. But again, Caesar Rodney, fantastic season.
The next game on Friday, also downstate, and it's going to be the winner of Padua and Indian River at Delmarva Christian. Chance for the Pandas, should they get by Indian River, to travel to Sussex County twice in 3 days. Not an easy trip, and not an easy opponent in Delmarva Christian, no matter who gets them. We saw them against Tatnall a few weeks ago. They have the Milloway sisters, and they have the Kwiatkowski sisters, and that team Fetterman team they're pretty loaded.
Coach Champagne has really done a nice job down there. This year, I believe they played more in-state teams than they normally do. They bookended their seasons with losses. They won 13 straight in the middle. And their 2 losses were to very good teams in Cape Henlopen and Caravel. So a really good team down there, and the Royals got the 2 seed. And they played a tough schedule this year because they got out of that conference that they were in and were able to play a lot of Delaware teams, but also keep a couple good out-of-state teams that piled up their bonus points for sure. But 13 wins, fantastic season.
They played Holly Grove from their conference, and then they also played Archbishop Spalding, I believe, both of whom I believe were 2-point bonuses. Yeah. They gave up a chance to win their conference because they wanted to toughen up the schedule in state, and it paid off for them. They're the 2nd seed. They did not have an easy schedule, as you mentioned. They played a very tough schedule, and that team is excellent, and they're going to be a handful for anybody. So they get Padua or Indian River on Friday. So if you're down near Georgetown, you can stop over at Delmarva Christian.
believe if IR gets by, it would be a regular season rematch with Delmarva Christian.
Alrighty. Other 4 games in the second round are going to be on Saturday. We're going to start with Wilmington Charter or Middletown at Caravelle. Caravelle is a really good team under Coach Mike Leclerc. The big hitter there is Layla Glover. You may know her from basketball. I think she's a better volleyball player, and that's saying something. She can really hit. She's got a nice supporting cast behind her. Mike just quietly gets the job done there at Caravelle. Not a lot of flash, but every year they're right up there.
There's another team, that plays a tough schedule. He really, they beat Smyrna this year, and then had to play Paddle the next. It seemed like the next night at Paddle, both road games. So I mean, he's got a tough schedule and a very solid team. But he's looking at that bracket going, wow, Middletown or Wilmington Charter in our first matchup. That's going to be a test for them right out of the gate. But they get it at home, and like I said, their schedule prepared them for that. Whoever they face on.
Yeah, they finished with 11 wins. I believe they had to win their last 2.
And they beat Delmarva Christian.
They beat Delmarva Christian in one of them to get to the 2-point bonus territory. Again, doesn't benefit them. It did benefit a couple of the other teams that are on our list here. But fantastic job by the Buccaneers, and they're going to be a tough out for anybody, as you should be at the 5 seed. Hello, Doug. We go from Caravelle to Claymont, right? Claymont, right where we are, up the street from us. Cape Henlopen or Dover is going to be traveling on Saturday. They're going to be back behind us here at Archmere. The 4 seed Hawks started with that 3-0 sweep at Smyrna. They lost that one. We streamed that one. That was our first match of the week. But Coach McCarthy's got a veteran team, a lot of height on that team, and they put it all together. A good season for the Hawks at 11-4.
Another team that's coming in.
Or 12-3. What were they?
I believe they were 12-3.
12-3. That's what I meant. Of course, Jerry. That's what I memeant.
They came in with their last week. They had to face Tower Hill and Newark Charter, won them both to get to that 12-win season. Very tough schedule. Very talented team. And if you're Cape Henlopen or Dover, whoever's coming up, come up a little early, hit Claymont Steak Shop, then go across the street and play some volleyball.
Can't go wrong with Claymont Steak Shop.
Yeah.
So he's getting some screen time here, huh? Frida says, I want to be a star for 302. You hear that? Nick Halliday? Miss Frida wants to be a star. Alrighty. Maybe I'll send her up to Archmere.
Yes.
Maybe I get a credential for the dog. She's licking my wrist as we talk. Alrighty. A home game on Saturday night for Concord. And it could be their district rival, Brandywine, or Tower Hill. We know Concord motored through Flight B. I don't believe they lost a Flight B game at all.
They did not.
And that's a team that has gotten it done under the radar, and the Raiders are going to be a tough matchup for either the Hillers or Bulldogs.
Yeah, and let me tell you about Flight B. You have 3 teams in there, and then you had Odessa and Christiana just outside the tournament. So a really solid Flight B this year. They ran through it. Also played some of their Flight A rivals that they normally do, including Middletown. And they're a very solid team, and like you said, they will be able to host a Saturday night game. The football plays early on Saturday if they're home. So a night game, they'd be the only one on campus on Saturday night. It should be a interesting Saturday night up here in Wilmington.
Yeah, Concord, not a lot of primetime games take place at Concord, so good for them. They deserve some ink. Lastly, on Saturday in Kent County, it's the number 1 seed, the Smyrna Eagles. Congratulations to Coach Danny Wamless and the young ladies there. They get either DMA or Dickinson. I saw Smyrna several times this year. That is a very, very fundamental, solid team. And they're the number 1 seed. They deserve to be the number 1 seed. And they are extremely tough. As you know, you've seen them, I've seen them. And some of these teams have seen way too much of them.
I mean, you look at who they played. They beat Archmere. They beat St. Mark's. Beat Padua. They scheduled themselves tough. They went perfect in that Henlopen North Conference that we saw a bunch of Henlopen North teams in. So they're very, well coached, great talented team. and they get the 1 seed. The only team to beat St. Mark's. What did they end? Their 50.
It was a 42.
42 match winning streak. So very good team, and they get the top seed, and they, like you said, they get the home game. They do not get an easy one right out of they get the DMA Dickinson winner. That could be a tough opening round matchup, but congratulations to the Eagles taking home the top seed this year.
I mentioned on our DLS Weekly last week 2 players to watch. The ones I mentioned were from Smyrna. It was Anna Richardson and Elise Carter. That's where I got Elise from. It's Eliza Schneider, Elise Carter.
Yes.
They're not alone. They have
No.
a lot of talent on that team. Those 2 are the ones who get the ink. They do a lot of the big hitting up front. But that's a quality team for Coach Wanless, and a great place to watch a match. If you're in Smyrna on Saturday and you need something to do, and you haven't seen that gym, even if you have seen that gym, get in there. There should be plenty of seats available because it's a big gym, and you can get a good seat and watch some great volleyball with the Eagles and either the DMA or Dickinson. Of course, the quarterfinal rounds, that's St. Mark's and St. Elizabeth's. Sometimes I wonder about St. E's. Is it getting too small? They're going to be there this year, but I guess that's something the committee has to talk about. It's a great place to watch a game, it really is.
And look at the potential matchups you could get there. St. Mark's, Newark Charter, Ursuline, Newark Charter, Appo, St. Mark's. I mean, and that's just a thing. And then you got Cesar Rodney, Delmarva Christian, or Padua, or a Red Line there. So you could get 4 teams that draw well.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, in that gym is it getting small? We'll find out. We could find out this year. But again, right now that's the site of 2 of the quarterfinal games, and obviously the other one's St. Mark's, and obviously St. Mark's can't go there.
Nope, and so the other half will be the Smyrna, Archmere, Carabel, and Concord half of the bracket.
Yep.
Just a quick peek at we both looked at the brackets a couple times. Is there a second round? We're not predicting winners, but there's a second round matchup that would really pique your interest.
Yeah, I really think it could be the. I really think it could be the winner of the Wilmington Middletown. The Middletown Wilmington Charter winner against Caravel. I think
that's the one that jumped out at me right away too.
I think that one can be really good. 2 really good teams. The other one I would say is the Padua Indian River winner at Delmarva Christian.
Those 2 certainly up there. And those probably would be the 2 I would have selected as well. Since I'm going to take some different ones, I'm looking at up top DMA or Dickinson at Smyrna. I think if DMA gets by Dickinson, I think they could potentially be a little tricky for Smyrna. DMA's got a lot of talent on that team.
Yep.
Not that the other games, I'm not looking at the other ones here, but I'm looking at maybe Red Line and MOT against Cesar Rodney. It's tough going down to CR.
Yes.
But I haven't seen MOT. I've seen Red Line, and I think they can be a tough out for just about anybody. We saw them against Middletown. It was a 3-1 match in favor of the Cavaliers. So we know Middletown can play a little bit, but there's some athletes on that Red Line team.
It really is.
All the games start at 6:30. Tickets available online only at GoFan.com. That's all on the should be on the websites for sports of the various teams and also the DIAA website. As far as us streaming any of these, I think we're out until the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. We have other obligations that we have to cover. And
especially with the Friday nights,
with Fridays
football,
and Saturdays this year too.
Yep. So it's not easy, but we're looking for the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals on the NFHS network.
That's right, and so you can sign up for the NFHS network. You can give it a month. You'll get the volleyball, field hockey, soccer, cross country, right? And
cross country.
I'm not sure if football falls within that month. It might be just a bit late for the month. But you can get all the fall sports for whatever the monthly price is. I get it per year, so I don't even know how much it costs per month. But that's going to be starting on, the tournament starts tomorrow night.
Yep.
We will stream starting with the quarterfinals at St. E's and St. Mark's. We'll figure everything out. And then the semifinals at St. Mark's. and the finals at the University of Delaware. And of course, volleyball, the only sport with a consolation round. I know that drives some people nuts, but I like it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a 3-set match, or best of 3. And like you said, it's one of the sports, the only sports to do the consolation final, and that starts at 5:30 on Monday, the 14th.
I think it's the 14th.
Yeah.
So busy week. That's a busy week for us.
Yep.
You don't even know the half of it, but we'll be everywhere that week in Delaware, and so yeah, get out and support these young ladies. They gave it their all season, and now it's time for you to give a little bit to go see them and show them that you appreciate their efforts and their talents. I think that's going to about wrap it up. Do we have any final thoughts? We talked about the streaming, the ticketing, and I guess it covers about everything, doesn't it?
Covers everything. Well, I'm expecting a fantastic tournament this year. I think there's a bunch of different teams that can win it all, and I think there's going to be some interesting rounds. This was the year I saw so many 5-set matches, so I think this is going to be great, and I can't wait. I can't wait for this thing to start. Let's get here Wednesday night.
Yeah, I want to thank all the athletic directors, coaches, players who helped us out this year in our Match of the Week coverage, and which was all on YouTube, of course. Unfortunately, we can't do YouTube in postseason, but we want to thank everybody for welcoming us into your gyms this fall. And we'll get through the postseason, and we have other sports that we do. We can't wait to do it again starting next September, I guess.
Yeah.
So for Frida, who's sitting right here, Frida's going to be famous now, and Jason Winchell, I'm Mike Lang. Thanks for joining us. Let's go volleyball. Were you upset? We left you upstairs.